Game time decisions. We are live on a Tournament Tuesday. Had to bust out the baby blue for these brackets. Now, of course, it is not the official beginning of the tournament. It is the first four matchups that begin in 40 minutes time with Wagner and Howard. Coach James Young will be here in 10 minutes time to break down that first four game plus Colorado State and Virginia, as well as the beginning of the NIT. This tournament looks a lot of good teams in it. There are some valid question marks around it. We'll explain those throughout this opening hour. Packed NHL slate, couple of interesting NBA games. We will get to it all here on this Tuesday night. But, folks, some breaking news in the National Football League. Mike Williams is with the New York Jets. The Jets and their fans needing another wide receiver in the room. This past offseason's acquisitions, whether they weren't good enough, Rodgers didn't play with them, or a combination of the two, this team needed to put some juice next to Garrett Wilson. And Mike Williams, they hope, will be that answer. Of course, the concern is health. Big Mike is a talented wide receiver, and it's inarguable. But so are the injury concerns. So you have to ask yourselves, are the Jets done? Perhaps the draft, perhaps they continue to see if there are moves to be made. I will say this move being done sends another reminder that T. Higgins is out there and realistically available. I don't see how Cincinnati pays him. He has requested the trade. I imagine the Jets signing Mike Williams to this one-year deal is going to remove them from that race. Our radio audience is here, Sirius XM, channel 159. Excited to be with you here on a Tuesday night. I'm Kevin Walsh. It is Game Time Decisions. Let's open this thing up and put our eyes on tonight's board. Plus, you'll see a little breaking news down there at the bottom with the Major League Baseball season set to begin at 6 a.m. Let's not acknowledge that. Here we go. First four. Zoom in on it now. We've got Wagner catching 3.5 from Howard. Here is a delightful little wrinkle in this game. If you are a Ken Palm believer, Wagner has the 334th offense in all of college basketball. Howard has the 334th defense in all of college basketball. That makes this a fantastic first four matchup to me. The intrigue down here for Colorado State and Virginia is legit. It pits two of the, I think, biggest hot-button issues that came from the bracket reveal against one another. No team by the masses has been more scrutinized for getting in than the Virginia Cavaliers. Colorado State comes from the Mountain West. While they did put 6 teams in, none of those 6 happy about their seeding, including Colorado State. Tomorrow, we'll break down a Boise game. Utah State, New Mexico, all of these teams feeling as if they deserved better. Well, tonight is the first chance for them to prove it. If you want to back the Mountain West in this year, doesn't it have to start by eliminating what a lot of people believe is the weakest non-automatic big team in the field? Doesn't it have to begin here, covering a 2.5-point line? We'll find out also. There it is, 120.5. Virginia basketball, if this is the end, as much as I hate you, I love you, and let's have some fun with that total tonight. We can take this over, I believe, to the NIT and get a sense of what we have on tonight's slate. We talked about this a bit yesterday, a little with Joe Ranieri, a little with Dave Sharapan, and the futures markets are out there and available for the NIT. Wake Forest is the favorite at 6-1. A few other teams, I think there's 4 more underneath a 10-1 price. Some of those that are, a lot of those are in action tomorrow, admittedly, as far as the shorter teams price-wise go. Ohio State is the biggest round 1 favorite, so they're number short. I told you guys I was going to come in with NIT futures. I had 3 that I looked at. We'll go over them when the time is right. I didn't play any of them. Providence against Boston College tonight looks light on a 3.5-point line. At last look, about an hour and a half ago, Devin Carter, their best player, did not have props available. The NIT, of course, right now, having a lot of people talking about the fact that we don't have we do not have certainty of why some of these teams aren't there because of all the NIL situation, right? Which means we don't know if everyone's going to play, potentially, in the NIT. And what I'm not going to do is sit here and tell you put money on Providence, whether that's in this game against Boston College, but for me, more even so in the futures market, when we don't know if their best player is going to be there and available. Maybe after the round one games, the NIT's futures market will feel a bit more comfortable. But for me, I'm on three sides tonight. Couple of dogs we're taking the points with. I cannot get involved here in that futures market. I'm not sure if we have at the moment. Throughout tonight, we'll be able to show everybody the futures market for the NIT. I know we're going to put odds on this NHL slate, but if we did have that outright market for the NIT, Wake Forest is the favorite at plus 600, and Ohio State is way up there. Villanova is way up there as well. We could all, you'll see it right there. Wake is 6-1, Ohio State 750 there on Villanova. Indiana State, Cincinnati at 9-1 caught the eye as well. There's Providence down there at 26. We'll pop back out to a packed NHL board. Colorado in action against St. Louis in that 8 o'clock window is going to catch attention. It's a lot of the early slate that people are liking here. Winnipeg and the Rangers, Ottawa and Boston. So we'll go through all of these games here. Carolina and the Isles, not bad as well. Vegas, Tampa Bay is the late night game that'll have people talking. We'll go through that with Joe Madden, of course, here on this Tuesday. Let's get over to Blake Snell quickly. Okay, first of all, in baseball's continuing march to let people know they don't know what they're doing, as we talk about the NL reigning Cy Young Award winner just getting signed yesterday. The baseball season begins at 6 a.m. Dodgers-Padres. If you want to bet that, great. I'm not. It's ridiculous. I have no idea how they think this makes any sense. And it's not just that the games are not being played in a home field or being played at 6 a.m. or the fact that they're starting a week earlier than everybody else, but it's also all of that, and these teams come back and play more spring training games. It's completely discombobulated. It really, really is. And what's frustrating, at least this deal gets done, right, with an NL West team in the fold before the two most important NL West teams begin their season. The Giants' odds have since dropped. One of the fallouts from this, not from an odds level, but a big picture level, people are wondering, could this be the downfall of Scott Boras? This contract that ultimately is probably going to amount to a one-year deal for Blake Snell. Quick pick in the NBA tonight because it'll be very college-centric, but if you need to get involved with the association, which treated us well, how about a little 3-0 sizzle last night? The Don, 19.5 rebounds plus assists. That 7-game triple-double streak has been snapped with 2 straight unders on this number. He's not had 3 straight unders since November. Let's get it over. Let's get Coach of the Mix. We'll be right back. SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the movie that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance. That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere
only on SportsGrid.
Unlike the last one, I don't think these managers are going to sign up for a 1-1 draw. I think the Spurs know they need to win this one. They need the full 3 points to try to get into Champions League position.
But generally speaking, I find Klopp and Liverpool's approach to be much more effective, which is you disrupt those patterns of play, you get in the middle of those triangles, and you put them on the back foot.
Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca. Only on SportsGrid.
Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullough Jr. are not going to be fully healthy for the NCAA tournament. I think KU might be in danger of a very early round of 64 exit in the Big Dance.
They're playing really, really good defense, and to me, that's what you need this time of year. You got to be playing great defensively to give yourself a chance. Not like Kentucky, who gave up 97 last night.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid. Let me tell you this right now, all right? First of all, love to have you. It's Game Time Decisions. You know that. We're in the mix here on a Tuesday. But this is the time of year. And I don't just mean, because I'm going to sneak this in here, it's not just the college hoops, but this is really where basketball gets to stretch its legs. Like, I today got in an unnecessary LeBron-Michael debate, but in a way it gets the juices flowing. Then we're figuring out where Bronny's getting drafted. And then it's, oh, by the way, Wagner-Howard in the most delightful, awful matchup you've ever seen, tips in less than a half hour. Oh, and then, by the way, the NIT looks like the best tournament I've ever seen. And, oh, by the way, Coach James Young is in the fold, the host of the BATR podcast, co-host of BATR on the weekends, and, of course, the centerpiece of our Bracket Central coverage that is happening all throughout the week here on the grid. Coach, delightful to have you. How are you, sir?
Kevin, it's that time. Hey, I don't care about no Blake Snell, no Mike Williams going to the Jets.
Whoa,
I don't care about none
I like
of
that.
I don't like that.
That plays.
It's all Kenny Pickett going to the Eagles. It's ball season, son. It's all ball.
Listen, easy with that football, JY. By the way, we had a good Wemby conversation brewing as well. We had to put a pause on it. Let's start with these first four games, Coach. Howard Wagner. You know, for a lot of people, this will be the first game that they see of Howard, the first game they see of Wagner. But that's not going to stop them from getting in the mix. How are you getting in the mix with this one here tonight?
I'm going to go with Howard minus 3.5. Listen, and here's how I'm going to say this. And I'm going against a Jersey guy, and Donald Copeland's did a great job at Wagner, who took over for Bashir Martin. Shout out to Bashir. He's now the head coach of St. Peter's. To me, I'm just going to go with the team that's a better team. That is Howard. The team that's been here before, which is Howard. The team that was favored to win their conference tournament and did so in Howard. Whereas a team like Wagner kept up getting over the hump, including beating Merrimack on the road in the finals. I think there could be a case of a team happy to be here. I'm going to go ahead and think about this. Wagner also had 7 kids healthy for the championship game. They're coming in banged up. All those things being said, I'm going to go with Howard minus the points.
I took Wagner plus the 3.5. So opposing sides here is how we'll start these breakdowns. For me, I look right now at where these teams sit in our advanced metrics. And again, the offense versus defense. Wagner's offense and Howard's defense are both 334, which is incredible. The Wagner defense is a tick better than that Howard offense. Also, you know, whenever Virginia plays, who we're about to talk about, right? People say, you got to be careful at times if you're going to lay a number because if you're laying a bigger number, right? They're going to slow possessions down. I know 3.5 isn't huge, But the second slowest team in college, obviously the slowest team is, of course, Virginia, is Wagner. I think that gives him a chance to hang always inside this 3.5-point margin here. I also thought, look, and it's all relative, beating Merrimack, that's the best team that either one of these played in that conference tournament. That was a real stunning result by the Seahawks, and I think they can keep that momentum going and hang inside the 3.5. Speaking of Virginia basketball, JY, my goodness, a 120.5 listed over under. They are catching 2.5 points from Colorado State. What do you look for here in this game, Coach?
Well, the fact that Virginia shouldn't even be in a tournament, I told you how I feel about them. You know, and you look at it, think about this, folks. More times than not, if I said to you, what league is better, the ACC or Mountain West, you would say the ACC. This year, wrong. Mountain West is the better conference. When you look at the fact of both teams are really good defensively, right? But here's where the difference is. I've watched Virginia far too much this year, and every time I watch them, they put me to sleep because they throw up bricks, and it takes about 30 seconds to shoot them. Colorado State is better. They're 17th in the nation in field goal percentage, and they get their shots inside the three. Why am I saying this? Because a team like Virginia wants to give up contested long jumpers. It lines up. Give me the Rams minus the points or the money line, depending on where. If it's 2.5 or less, then go money line. If it's more than that, take the Rams minus the points.
Toxic relationships are bad, but I love the one that I have with Virginia basketball. I hate this team. I think they are a disgrace to this sport, and every time they're on the slate, I get giddy. I mean, come on now. We're on the over 120.5 here. Stop the madness. Folks out there betting the under, I mean, I hope you're ready for a ride. I hope you are. This is going to be a treat. Here's the deal. If you look at comp teams, Colorado State, who do they match? Who do they look like in the ACC, profile-wise? It'd be Pitt and Clemson, right? Inside that top 50 offense, touch worse on the defense, tempo around that 230, 260, within that range. Well, both of those games that Virginia played, one against Pitt, one against Clemson, had more than 130 points against it. Colorado State's seen slow tempo. They played a game against St. Mary's, went through this number. Air Force is incredibly slow. UNLV is incredibly slow. So is San Diego State. And, of course, they're a great defense, San Diego State, and so is St. Mary's. All of those games had more than 120.5. We see Virginia, we think under. We think low scoring. Well, guess what? 125 points is low scoring. It's a disgusting game of basketball. It's under the listed total in that first game of 127.5. And it's a smooth walking over here in this game tonight between CSU and Virginia. I expect an over in this basketball game, and I'm also playing a prop, Coach, on Isaiah Stevens, the lead guard for Colorado State, over the 1.5 made 3 prop. This is plus money at places. Make sure you get the best of the number. That minus 122 on FanDuel, I'm not scared off by, though. If you look, okay, he hit this in 11 out of 12 games to close out the regular season. He's 12-3 on this number in his last 15. But how about the uptick in attempts that we're seeing, especially in a big game this season, when he takes at least 4 or more attempts from 3, he is 14-2 to the over of 1.5. Best player, biggest game, over 1.5 threes, Coach, for Isaiah Stevens.
Yeah, I think because the fact that of a Virginia team that, like I said, wants to let you shoot jumpers. It lines up. So to me, that is the kind of thing that I would look for. Best shooter. You get, obviously, the ability to do that. Now, listen, they're in the 90th percentile in regards to, 87th percentile in spot-ups. But to me, it still lines up, right? A guy that could get a lot of shots, their best player, going to get those attempts. So to me, I do like that because that's the way Virginia wants you to play. It's shoot the ball, low-hanging fruit with the guy or at 1.5. I like a Kev going over 1.5 made threes.
Now, I want to ask you this quickly with this game here tonight, JY, with Colorado State and Virginia. Because with respect to the, come on, neither is 16th tonight are beating a 1 seed, okay? It's not happening. Well, do one of these teams play Purdue? Maybe I shouldn't be so. Does the winner of this get Purdue or North Carolina?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, that Montana State game. Oh, you hear the dog? Do you feel that the winner of this game could be, hey now, let's pull it in. Do you feel they could be dangerous to Texas in that 7-10?
Yeah, because Texas is so damn flaky that absolutely. Listen,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if this game is close, whoever wins. between Colorado State and Virginia versus Texas. I'll even tell you this one: the one winner that wins tomorrow between Boise State and Colorado, I think is beating Florida because Florida can't stop anybody. So you do get these teams that get to play and turn around and they win another game because you know what they do, folks? They've already played a game. They've already won a game. Pressure's a little bit off. They relax. They play more loose. So I do think that there's a chance that both of these teams, that the game tonight and the game tomorrow, can turn around and win on Thursday and Friday in the 10-7 matchup.
What I would be really interested in, I'm not rooting this. I want Coach's Colorado State bet to come in. Is if Virginia did win tonight, though, what that number would be against Texas. Let's be honest, a lot of people tonight are going to be betting against Virginia because they are the worst at-large team. We know this, right? That's why they're in this game. It's what all the metrics say. But a public win changes everything, right? And if everybody's going to be, this is going to be the most watched Virginia basketball game of the season. And if they win tonight, and all of a sudden they play Texas, who's a tick better than Colorado State, and we get a repeat 2.5 number, we'll be fading the Cavaliers once again. That's if that's what we see. We're going to talk NIT, but up next, we'll talk some Final Four, where the value is on this board with Coach next. SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the movie that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance. That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid.
Unlike the last one, I don't think these managers are going to sign up for a 1-1 draw. I think the Spurs know they need to win this one. They need the full 3 points to try to get into Champions League position.
But generally speaking, I find Klopp and Liverpool's approach to be much more effective, which is you disrupt those patterns of play, you get in the middle of those triangles, and you put them on the back foot.
Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca. Only on SportsGrid.
Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullough Jr. are not going to be fully healthy for the NCAA tournament. I think KU might be in danger of a very early round of 64 exit in the Big Dance.
They're playing really, really good defense. And to me, that's what you need this time of year. You got to be playing great defensively to give yourself a chance. Not like Kentucky, who gave up 97 last night.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, we're live with you right here on SportsGrid. We just went through our picks for tonight's first 4 games. Coach and I, opposite sides. He's going to lay the number with Howard. I'm taking it with Wagner. The second game, I'm on the over, and Coach is rolling with Colorado State. We're going to get a moment here. We're going to talk NIT. Excited for this slate. I have 3 sides. Coach has some futures. We'll go big picture on it as well. I do want to talk a little tournament. I haven't been able to talk to JY yet since the bracket came out, and as tempted as I am to blow up this segment and just talk Seton Hall, St. John's, and all that, let's talk about who's in the field, even if it is tempting. JY, how do you feel about the 1 seeds? Because we've spent a lot of this season, and let me remove North Carolina. All season long, Houston, UConn, and Purdue have been discussed, booked, ranked like they are on a different tier than everybody else. But it is called March Madness. What is your confidence in those 3 teams heading into this tournament?
Relatively, I think it is confident. Listen, with UConn, the way they play in the Big East tournament with that win, and I've talked about it ad nauseum, folks, this wing ball screen offense with Don McClingan rolling, Newton with the ball, Caravan and Spencer at the 3-point line, and Castle get punched the gap. Kevin, it's just deadly. And I told people, for me being 47, I compare UConn to Mike Tyson. Like, at some point, they're going to throw a punch, and they're going to hit it clean, and it's going to be over. You don't know when the punch is. It could be first half, second half. Like, if you look at the game versus Marquette, it was about the middle, like early second half. They threw the punch, and it was it. It was done. So, to me, they're playing better than everybody else. Houston, I think, is going to be very pissed off after they got thoroughly embarrassed in the Big 12 final. They didn't lose. They got embarrassed. Boat race. You pick it. That's how it went down. By the way, best bet, Thursday, Friday, Longwood, you're getting crushed. I mean, minus 24.5, take it. Longwood, under 51.5 points, take it. Longwood, I think it's 22, 24, 25.5 points first half, take it. I mean, it's a trifecta play. Purdue is the interesting case. Now, to me, it's about the guard play. Lawyer, Jones, Smith, and then the stretch for Gillis. If they can knock down threes, they're gonna be able to take care of the big man, Zach Edey. So to me, they become the really pivotal thing. So if you pull up my Final Four, I did go chalk, Kevin, until I got to the West. I think the West is wild. I mean, you can make a case of like 6, 7 teams to win it. And that includes, ready, folks? New Mexico can win it. Very good defensively. But to me, I don't trust Carolina. I think there's a really good chance that if Michigan State wins, they're going to lose they're going to beat Carolina in round 2. Because you can't prep for Tom Izzo in one day. It's not possible. Because he'll have something ready for you. So to me, bottom of the bracket, I'm concerned about Arizona because I feel like Caleb Love's going to shoot them out of a game. Because that's what Caleb Love does all the time. So to me, coming out of there, I like Baylor to come out of there, and I really am so intrigued by Alabama Charleston. Folks, sit down. You don't need no Red Bull because they will give you wings. That game is going to be so fast-paced, your head would spin. That game is going to fly over the number, and the number is high.
It is a huge number, one of the highest in tournament history, which makes for a really interesting situation. So then let's see, Coach, if I can make you unconfident in any of these 1 seeds. And by the way, I haven't finished a bracket yet. I'm not here tomorrow at the Kevin Walsh. Any and everything that I'm on from now until the tournament begins at noon, I will send out on Twitter to make sure that we're all dialed in. If you want to continue to rock, we'll continue to rock. If you want to fade, how dare you, but I get it, and we'll do it that way. Let me start, though, with your favorite team in the history of college basketball, in Purdue. I understand if you feel Purdue is the best team in their region because they are booked that way. They probably are the best team in their region. But betting Purdue at under or at 2-1 to win a region, JY, when it's Purdue, lost to a 16. Here's the thing. They lost to St. Peter's, who was a 15. Like, this team has lost to teams nowhere near their caliber. Nowhere near it. What was the year? They were a 4 when they lost to, I believe it was North Texas. So, are you sure, even if you think Purdue is the best team, Coach, that you feel there's enough value with them at 2-1 to make that wager?
Oh, Kevin, why are you doing this to me?
Well, that's my job.
Here's the thing with Purdue. I just need them to get through the first game. I think they're going to relax. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
When you're such a big favorite, you're going to get tight. Now, to me, the Midwest is harder than people think. I think TCU or Utah State can give them a game. I think Jamie Dixon will have something ready for Zach Edey, and they're very athletic TCU as opposed to Purdue. The interesting case in that region in the Midwest is, they're lucky because I think they're going to get upsets all over the place. I think McNeese State's going to take out Gonzaga, and I like Samford to take out Kansas. I think Kansas is on an absolute free fall. We don't know what you're going to get out of McCullough and Dickinson. If they're not healthy and not playing, run to the window and take Samford. So now it opens up the bottom half. So where do I see coming out there? The only team that I really think that can take them out is Creighton. Reason being, they have a big that is big enough, and the 3-time defending Big East Defensive Player of the Year, Ryan Kalkbrenner, at 7'1", that Zach Edey's not shooting that jump hook over someone 6'7", 6'8". That's 7'1". That's a big tree. You got to send it over for a guy. Zach Edey is not overly athletic, and I've seen Zach Edey against Big Clip Amori from Rutgers struggle sometimes versus him. So to me, they're not a slam dunk. So I wouldn't be shocked if you want to put a little money on Creighton as well to come out of the Midwest. They match up very well with Purdue.
I don't like this Creighton team one bit. And with that being true, with my likely reluctance to put any money on Purdue, it leaves me 2 options. I'll say this with Kansas quickly. I think the Samford upset is certainly on the board. It's less about that and more, their 2 best players are injured coming in. They're going to play. You can't go on a run like that. So Kansas is not, I can't bet Kansas big picture. So what that leaves me with is Gonzaga and Tennessee. And that's where I'm at in the Midwest right now. That's where I'm at. Sweet 16, Elite 8. I had the Gonzaga preseason. Will I reinvest? I don't know. That's where I'm at in the Midwest. The East region, JY, is obviously ridiculous. Obviously, the committee should be embarrassed. Auburn is 4th on Ken Palm, 5th in the net, 4th in the region. Won the SEC tournament. The knock on Auburn, though, might be because, listen, bad teams can't touch them. Okay? Bad teams can't touch them. That's how it's gone all season long. But they've not shown an ability, Coach, to beat a UConn. How do you feel about that potential matchup if we get it in the 1 versus 4? Or maybe you don't even think we're going to see that matchup.
No, I think you're going to see that matchup. I think I'm very comfortable with Auburn playing UConn. To me, it's the Donovan Clingan effect. But Auburn, they got dudes, man. They got dudes. They're athletic. They're bouncy. They're going to be able to you want to be able to have guys defensively, Kevin, that can do multiple things. Meaning, like hedge and then recover. You need to be athletic, quick twitch at that 1 through 4 spot. Well, guess who's athletic enough to kind of stunt and recover and contest a shot from Cam Spencer or Alex Caravan? It's Auburn. But then they're also good enough athletically that they can make those 2 kids pay on the defensive end of the floor. So I am scared of Auburn. All right? Okay. I'll also say this. 2-3, Illinois, Iowa State. I want to see this matchup because I want to see TJ in that defense against Terrence Shannon Jr. That to me is like must-see basketball. Like, put the kids to bed. Don't bother me. As like back in the day when Martin used to come on when I was a kid. I love Martin. That was my show. When Martin used to come on, don't talk to me. I need to focus. That's the way I feel about if those 2 teams match up because it's such a contrasting style between Illinois and Iowa State.
I presently don't think we will see those teams play.
If you feel conviction on one of those two teams, though, that is where I think a lot of people are going to look to make their bed in this region, knowing that you don't have to play both Auburn and UConn, and the earliest you would see them, look, if Auburn or UConn don't come out of that top region, that would be the biggest upset of the tournament. If San Diego State, who I have a piece of, if FAU, if one of those teams is here, that would be crazy. But knowing that the earliest you have to see that team is the Elite Eight, that's what's going to get tempting for people with Illinois and Iowa State, is that you don't have to run up against two of the four, according to Ken Pom at minimum, best teams in college basketball. Max out at one. And that's what makes it interesting. JY mentions being on Houston. I will say my current stance with the South is, the 4-up portion of it feels really good. Whoever gets out of there, I'd probably like to get through. I don't love the bottom of this bracket overall. I do think Kentucky got a decent draw, but even still, Kentucky making enough of a run. We'll finish this out. We'll talk NIT. We're still with Coach here next on Game Time Decisions. SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the movie that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance. That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid.
Unlike the last one, I don't think these managers are going to sign up for a 1-1 draw. I think the Spurs know they need to win this one. They need the full 3 points to try to get into Champions League position.
But generally speaking, I find Klopp and Liverpool's approach to be much more effective, which is you disrupt those patterns of play, you get in the middle of those triangles, and you put them on the back foot.
Pro League Soccer powered by Marca. Only on SportsGrid.
Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullough Jr. are not going to be fully healthy for the NCAA tournament. I think KU might be in danger of a very early round of 64 exit in the Big Dance.
They're playing really, really good defense, and to me, that's what you need this time of year. You got to be playing great defensively to give yourself a chance. Not like Kentucky, who gave up 97 last night.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Coach James Young. I guess I should just I want to deliver. I said I would challenge Coach on the 3-1 seeds. Again, Purdue, UConn, I get all of it. And I say 3-1 seeds. Honestly, they basically gave Arizona a 1 seed, right? Like in the West, I don't care. I'm not getting into it. I'm not going to bog people down with the committee being bad. My worry for Houston, JY, is I think they have a difficult draw. Because I think Nebraska, nobody agrees with me, that's fine. I think Nebraska A&M is more difficult than the Michigan State-Mississippi State game, personally. So I think that's a tough round of 32 game. And while odds suggest one of Wisconsin or Duke will be knocked off, I think one of them will make it to what would be the Sweet 16 game. And I think that's a difficult matchup. That's my hesitation with Houston. They're better than all of these teams. They, I think, also got themselves a difficult top portion of the bracket.
Well, here's the thing. To me, yes, Nebraska A&M is very intriguing because Nebraska's offensive firepower and Buzz Williams is as good at mucking a game up than anybody else. His teams are just – they won't be afraid of the moment with Houston because they're just that tough, right? So to me, what becomes interesting in the South is I think that second group of 4 is where chaos is going to be. I fully expect JMU to beat Wisconsin. Don't sell me on this run that Wisconsin went through in the Big Ten tournament. They are one of the worst defensive teams in the country. And JMU is going to spread them out, and they got a bunch of guys that can score. And I don't think they're going to be scared of the moment, JMU. So I like JMU to win outright. I also think Vermont is going to give Duke a scare. Duke is not very consistent. It's not about Filipowski. It's about Proctor, Roach, and McCain. Those 3 have to dictate. So to me, I think that's going to be interesting. Bottom half of the draw, I kind of like I talked about Illinois, Iowa State. Kevin, I'm praying we get Kentucky Marquette. And I want it healthy because I want to see Tyler Kolek and his swag and his arrogance and how he plays with that team with Marquette that's tough-nosed and that can defend versus Cal's kids. I think that's a very as intriguing of a matchup we could see in the Sweet 16, contrasting styles, and you will see Kentucky really try to force tempo versus a Marquette team that will slow the game down and really make it a tough battle.
All right, we're set there. I want to talk a little NIT. And so I'm trying, all right, let me say this. It is. We do not need to sit here and go back and forth on NIL and transfer portal. I think one thing Coach and I would easily agree on is the portal should not presently be open, right? Okay, with that. Earlier today, I went through the futures market for the NIT. I said we were going to explain this to people. And I was looking to place a bet on 3 teams. If you would like to still place them, you certainly could. That was Wake Forest, Cincinnati, and the last one was Providence. I stopped, though, because as I was going through today's game of Providence against Boston College, I noticed there were no Devin Carter props. And that, of course, makes no sense. The Big East Player of the Year is going to have props up if he's playing in this game. Now, Devin Carter is not playing in this game. Left ankle, according to the reporters. He is in street clothes currently watching his team warm up. Now, I will tell you right now, I am unaware if Devin Carter injured his ankle against Marquette, where he had 27 points and 8 rebounds. I'm unaware. But if we are in a situation where Devin Carter is not playing this game because he's maybe, and I don't even know if Devin Carter has time left, right? But he's a junior, so I'm pretty sure he does. Because Devin Carter already knows he's going to transfer up, because he probably is, right? I mean, he's a Miami kid, so it's not like he has deep ties to the Rhode Island area. I am going to have some sides tonight. Coach will have some sides. But I can't play the futures market, Coach, at least not in round 1, if I don't know whether these teams in this tournament, St. John's is not in this tournament, right? If I don't know if the teams in it are going to have their best guys, I can't play the futures market. I can't.
No, you got to play it game by game. And I was gonna, one of my picks was Providence because I felt like Kim English was going to rally his troops. I just like the way this guy coaches, but to me, losing Carter is this is the problem with the portal. It's the portal, and now I'm not going to get into the portal. It's also the problem of they're going to treat Kevin ready. The NIT is going to be like when you're not in the national semifinal, you're not in the college football playoff. You know what I'm saying? Where you'll get guys that are high draft, right, picks, or guys that could be looking to transfer up, say, you know what? I'm going to hold out. And that's a shame. It devalues the tournament. But to me, by names, you go through the list, right? Obviously, Xavier, Georgia, LSU, Providence, Ohio State, Richmond, Kansas State, South Florida, like Seton Hall, Virginia. Folks, this is an absolutely loaded.
Okay, JY's mic is unfortunately just a quick little button there. We'll fix that up. I didn't know if that was on my end or Coach's. Again, we'll fix that quickly. And I don't want to turn this into a big complaining thing. And admittedly, the more I look into it, Kim English yesterday said Devin Carter would be out. They said that these injuries have mounted throughout the year. But obviously, Devin Carter, if Providence made the tournament, would be playing right now. So that's not ideal, right? And I get it that you're not going to turn the whole. It's just the bowl games already don't matter, and I get it. I don't think this field of 68 needs to become this field of 96 that people have discussed. But if we're going to get a team like Providence to accept the NIT bid and then hold out their best player, it just makes for an unfortunate situation. Let's not bog people down with the rest of this. I want to talk picks. JY, you and I are seeing 2 picks the same here. I'm on 3. You have 3. Let's start with where we agree. I am going to play South Florida tonight. This team 8-2-1 against the number as a dog this season. And I think they've got a good chance here to hang with UCF. While Central Florida, great defensively, their offense leaves a bit to be desired. I think this is an overinflated number with the home court advantage. We saw Central Florida play Oklahoma State at home in one of the final regular season games, lay just 4.5. So this jumping up to 6.5 here feels like too much. I'll take the points with the Bulls. I know you're doing the same.
Yeah, and that's where I'm going with it, Kevin. I think this is a case of Big 12 bias, right? Versus the team in South Florida. Let's be honest, Kevin. I feel like it's been disrespected by the book pretty much all year. I mean, constantly, if you look at it, take away their loss to UAB, they came into it 8-2 against the spread, or 8-1 against, 7-2 against the spread their previous 9 games before the UAB game. And they weren't laying big numbers. In fact, there were times that they were, obviously an underdog versus FAU, at home and covered. So to me, I don't think they'll be scared of the moment. And Abdul Rahim is one of these coaches I think is a rising star. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a big-time job in the next couple of weeks. I like Johnny Dawkins. Did a good job. They did a good job in this year, the first year in the Big 12. Too many points. Give me South Florida.
All right, JY, we're also both here on Kansas State. Why do you like the Wildcats?
Too much points. I mean, Iowa, like, they're that much better? I haven't been impressed with Iowa in years. I mean, if this was Kansas State, Iowa women's basketball, all on that 5.5. But to me, this is where I'm going to go Big 12 bias the other way. I think Kansas State's pretty good. And I think that they'll be in this game. And honestly, Kevin, I wouldn't be shocked if they won this game outright. But I'll take the points for Kansas State.
Yeah, for me, I like that this K-State team has light competition against BYU and Baylor, right? Offense first basketball. Look, those teams don't play at the same exact pace, but those are high-level offenses. And K-State covered in all 3 of those games, won 2 of the 3 outright. Iowa is actually under 500 as a home favorite this season. JY, you're on Butler here in their game. Why?
Yeah, in a matchup tonight between Butler and Minnesota, I just look at a Minnesota team that's not very good on the road. If they come into this game 0-4 against the spread the previous 4 games. And, obviously I look at the offside, not great either for a Butler team, but I'm going to take a chance on Butler. I thought that they were really close in that game versus Xavier. They won the previous game versus Xavier. They beat up on DePaul. And then the losses they had were against, think about this, against spread. St. John's, at Seton Hall, at Villanova, Creighton, Marquette, Providence. I mean, that's a loaded schedule. So even though they didn't cover any of those games, those were high-level opponents. Give me Butler because they're at home. Minus points.
I'll close my card out with UC Irvine tonight. Credit me for being willing to put money on this team after what they did in the Big West. But I actually think that they're going to come in pretty motivated here. That was obviously a disaster what they allowed to happen against Long Beach State, who did end up winning the Big West. It happened because they couldn't make free throws. This is a good shooting free throw team. This is a team that would have been dangerous. It's a good free throw shooting team. So for that to be what cost them was difficult. And I think they'll be focused here. And this team has had step-up competition. They only lost by 1 to San Diego State. Hung with Utah State and New Mexico for a lot of those games. They beat USC early season, so that was the better ranked version of the Trojans at the time. I like UC Irvine plus the 8.5. JY, did any team in the futures market catch your eye for the NIT? Again, I think maybe letting some basketball play out could be worthwhile, but did anything catch your eye?
Well, to me now, if Devin Carter is out, and let's say he's done for the year, all right, here we go. You're going to think I'm biased. Seton Hall should have a pretty good pathway to the semis. Now, you may have to go through Princeton, but to me, that is a pathway I like. I don't know why I'm going to get out of Villanova because Kyle Neptune's guys, I know they were banged up. Look at the 1 seeds. I mean, Illinois State, yes, they can make a run, but they can also lose to Butler or Minnesota in round 2. Cincinnati's a quirky team. So to me, if I look at a team, maybe it's chalk. I like Seton Hall because I also know the fact that when it came down to making the decision, Kevin, Shaheen Holloway went to his 5 starters. And he allowed them to make the call. And I was told all 5 of them unanimously said, we want to play. So that's interesting when you have guys like Kadari Richmond and Dre Davis who are rumored to be leaving Seton Hall. So they must be motivated to play. Seton Hall was my play, but I can't bet because we're in Jersey anyway.
Yeah. 10-1 if you want Seton Hall outside of Jersey. I'll tell you the 2 teams that caught my eye outside of Providence. Wake Forest is the favorite. Here's the thing. Of course, they play home games here until the semifinals. Wake Forest is 16-1 straight up at home this year. That's hard to argue with. And then I like Cincinnati. I thought they got a good draw. Okay? They are a better version of everything that San Francisco likes to do. I think that Loyola can't score the basketball if they, get through Bradley. And if they play Bradley, again, nowhere near the caliber of defense. And I think Indiana State would struggle in that step-up spot. So I think Cincy and Wake Forest still could be looks there to win the NIT. Coach, great stuff as always. I will talk to you live and in person Thursday night. As again, the countdown to the tournament is on. We're back with the hockey slate next. SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the movie that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance. That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid.
Unlike the last one, I don't think these managers are going to sign up for a 1-1 draw. I think the Spurs know they need to win this one. They need the full 3 points to try to get into Champions League position.
But generally speaking, I find Klopp and Liverpool's approach to be much more effective, which is you disrupt those patterns of play, you get in the middle of those triangles, and you put them on the back foot.
Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca. Only on SportsGrid.
Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullough Jr. are not going to be fully healthy for the NCAA tournament. I think KU might be in danger of a very early round of 64 exit in the Big Dance.
They're playing really, really good defense. And to me, that's what you need this time of year. You got to be playing great defensively to give yourself a chance. Not like Kentucky, who gave up 97 last night.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh with you. It is Game Time Decisions. We're bringing Joe Madden in the mix. You're going to talk here for a few minutes, and then at the top of the hour, go through the rest of the ice, because that 7 o'clock window is where a lot of the best games are, Joe, including Winnipeg, New York, the Rangers at -126 at home. What do you look for in this game?
This could be a Stanley Cup matchup right here, and I do think we get defense and goaltending, at least in the first period, that we will see in the Stanley Cup. So give me the under 1.5 in the first period between these two, and the no goal in the first 10 minutes, Kevin. I think this is a complete battle from the very start of this game defensively.
Joe, how about this Pittsburgh, New Jersey game here? A slight home favorite number for the Devils. This total checks in at 6.5.
Yeah, so these two are battling it out in the Metro, both for a wild card spot. We have 68 points here for the Devils and 69 for the Penguins. I do think with the offensive firepower on both sides that we could see this one go over that total of 6.5. But I do think the majority of the goals will come from the New Jersey Devils. We look at Jari in net here for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he's been struggling as of late. He allowed 6 goals on 23 shots in his last game out versus the Rangers. Jake Allen has been strong since coming over here to the Devils. So I got to take this one over 6.5, but I expect most of those goals to come by the New Jersey Devils.
All right, that's 2 of a few on tonight's ice. Joe Madden will be here at the top of the hour to go through the rest. Puck does not drop for another 10 minutes in these games, so you will have time. And it also allows me to update people on the first 4 game between Wagner and Howard. It is currently a 14-10 Wagner lead. Interestingly, though, the book's not moving this number too much, till a 1.5-point favorite status for Howard, a -130 money line. Perhaps, admittedly, as I'm working to get eyes on this game, is it a situation where we are at the under 12? Is Howard shooting some free throws? Maybe so, and that could be part of why this number looks the way it does. Your live total is up a bounce at 129.5. Joe Madden helps us break down the rest of the NHL next here on Game Time Decisions. All right, back to right here. It is a Tuesday night on SportsGrid Game Time Decisions. I am Kevin Walsh with you. The tournament is kind of, sort of underway. Howard Wagner, the first of the four games to get a spot officially in the tournament. An early lead for the Seahawks over the Bison. We will follow that along. We will continue to preview Virginia and Colorado State throughout the night. The BVB crew really checks in. Matt Peralt and Dave Sharapan on deck. But with us now is Joe Madden going through tonight's ice. We've already talked about two of these games, Devils Penguins and Winnipeg and New York. Let's stay inside this 7 o'clock window here, Joe, with the Philadelphia Flyers and their matchup with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Minus 134 on Toronto, a 6.5 listed over-under. Of course, a lot of people will be putting their eye towards Austin Matthews. He is someone that we have talked about quite a bit here on Game Time Decisions because of the moments where it seemed like Austin Matthews was going to win the Hart Trophy. He was on pace for a 70-plus goal season, and that led to a huge shift in the market where Nathan McKinnon had an early season moment flipping to a minus money favorite. And all of a sudden, he was jumped by Austin Matthews. Since then, a bigger gap has been created. In fact, Austin Matthews at most books is not even the second man now in this spot. But Austin Matthews has been good on bounce-back spots, and that worked out not too long ago when we saw him score against these Philadelphia Flyers. So, Joe, I will throw it to you as our radio audience will work their way in here on this Tuesday night. Game Time Decision, Sirius XM, Channel 159, live on SportsGrid Radio. Flyers, Maple Leafs, what do you see?
I see explosive first period here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm taking them on the puck line in the first period. We know they're coming off that loss versus the Carolina Hurricanes, a game in which they led that game and allowed the Canes to come back and win it in a shootout at the end. I think they come out frustrated in this one, and we know these teams have played recently. Urshan in that one got pulled after allowing 3 goals. I expect Toronto to come out and get him right away. And I do think Austin Matthews gets on the scoreboard. And definitely you got to circle him for those points tonight. 2+ points for Austin Matthews as well.
Joe, what about the game at 7:30, 7:40? The Islanders hosting the Carolina Hurricanes. The Isles a little bit better than plus 130 as a home dog in this one here. A 5.5 total, pointing with juice towards the over. What do you like?
I'm leaning more towards the under in this game, but especially in that first period. Sorokin will be in net tonight for the New York Islanders. Now, the Islanders are clinging on right on the bubble of having a wild card spot. And I do think they have to start locking down on the defensive side. They've lost their last 4 games. And before that, they were going on a 6-game run versus the Carolina Hurricanes here. The only way that they can win this game is if Sorokin comes out phenomenally strong and this defense starts to show up. It's asking a lot out of them here to keep this whole game under 5.5 because we know how strong Carolina is offensively and defensively here. And if Carolina decides to hit Sorokin hard, we could see this one go over that total. But I do think in that first period, we look for the first period to stay under 1.5 here in this one, Kevin.
All right, Joe, what about St. Louis tonight? Do they have a chance to hang with the Colorado Avalanche? The Avs more than minus 200 on the money line despite being on the road in this game. Total listed at 6.5.
I think you have to definitely circle the St. Louis Blues here. Look at them on the puck line plus the 1.5. You're getting that coming in at minus 137. I would also do a small sprinkle on this money line here at plus 180. This team doesn't take a lot of penalties, and they have won their last 4 games. And yes, the last game versus the Anaheim Ducks, but I do think the momentum of this team right now versus a Colorado team, and don't get me wrong, this team is absolutely phenomenal. They're sitting second in the Central for a reason, but this is their last game of a long road trip here. This team is ready to get home. They've got their backup goaltender in, and we will see Binghamton in here for the St. Louis Blues. He has been playing strong. He's got a 2.80 goals against average and a 913 save percentage. I think the St. Louis Blues have at least a possibility of keeping it tight at the plus 1.5 at minus 137, but I do think you sprinkle just a little bit on that money line. A home dog at this price, they shouldn't be such big dogs in this one, Kevin.
All right, so a little bit of value there presents itself with the St. Louis Blues tonight. Joe, late night, one of the best games on this card is Vegas and Tampa Bay. The Lightning, a dog. Vegas getting respect here at minus 140 at home. Another listed total of 6.5. What do you like in this matchup?
Vegas is getting too much respect in this one, Kevin. I do think the Tampa Bay Lightning can roll in and get the win here on the road. I love what we've seen out of them. They've won their last 3. They got that big win versus the Panthers, which I didn't expect to happen, 5-3. Looking at Vegas, they've been inconsistent, and the Fortress really hasn't been theirs as of late. They haven't been able to record these wins, and yes, they got the win over the Devils 3-1 on Sunday, but I don't have enough faith in them here, especially looking at the Tampa Bay Lightning rolling in here. I almost said Rays. I'm already thinking baseball, Kevin. I don't know how that almost slipped. But I do think you look at them here. The Lightning have every chance to push this one to OT. I love OT between these two at plus 350. And I love the over 6.5. I think this is an offensive game. Kucherov here for the 2+ points for the Tampa Bay Lightning are coming in at plus 150. So you got to look at him for his points as well. 10-point streak here in the last, or 10-game point streak here in the last 10 games. 4 goals and 16 assists. You can't go against Kucherov. But Aiden Hill's been shaky also for Vegas, so I can't trust him here against this Lightning team.
Joe, with the Rays on the mind, and I know you're big into baseball, which is not that far away. Some people would even suggest that we're less than 12 hours away from a real baseball game. I will watch 0 of Padres-Dodgers. Is that game going to interest you at all?
I think you really have to look at it here. You got to look at Ohtani coming out here for the Dodgers. How can we not have a little bit of interest in it? Kevin, don't boycott this game. I definitely want to get involved in this. Look at those home run props for Ohtani. I think he's going to come out nice and strong in this game.
I might just go full spike bet. Ohtani under total base. I don't know. Nobody gets to have fun here. It's so, I cannot believe. Here's the thing. That's a lie. I can believe that this is how Major League Baseball has decided to roll out their season. What absolute nonsense. Joe, appreciate it. Best of luck on the ice tonight, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Kevin. Best of luck, everyone.
All right, great stuff there. Again, just another update for everybody here on the first 4 game between Wagner and Howard. Wagner really starting to extend this lead in the books now, deciding that it is worthy of a sizable move here. A 23-12 lead. Under 8 minutes to go, has 4.5 now, the number that Wagner is laying. Minus 220 on that money line, though, is probably going to be a bit more eye-popping to people. This Howard offense has not even remotely shown up to play here, so this listed total down to 127 and a half. We'll continue to talk about it all. We're live with you on a Tuesday night at Davis Maddock SGP's around the corner. SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the movie that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance. That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid.
Unlike the last one, I don't think these managers are going to sign up for a 1-1 draw. I think the Spurs know they need to win this one. They need the full 3 points to try to get into Champions League position.
But generally speaking, I find Klopp and Liverpool's approach to be much more effective, which is you disrupt those patterns of play, you get in the middle of those triangles, and you put them on the back foot.
Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca. Only on SportsGrid.
Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullough Jr. are not going to be fully healthy for the NCAA tournament. I think KU might be in danger of a very early round of 64 exit in the big dance.
They're playing really, really good defense, and to me, that's what you need this time of year. You got to be playing great defensively to give yourself a chance. Not like Kentucky, who gave up 97 last night.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Live on SportsGrid, it is Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh with you here on this Tuesday night. The first four has begun, which means mostly all of the basketball talk will center around college these days, but there is an NBA board, and to get a little SGP on that slate, we're going to throw it over to Davis Maddock. He's looking at this game between the Mavs and the Spurs. I am as well. I'll talk about what I'm playing in a moment. Let's see what Davis Maddock likes here tonight in a battle in the state of Texas.
All right, guys, we are back for another same game parlay. Over on the FanDuel Sportsbook, we've got a battle in the state of Texas tonight with the Dallas Mavericks traveling to play at the San Antonio Spurs. We are going to take the Spurs plus 8.5 and the under on 233. This really is just about Victor Wembanyama, who is becoming a superstar in front of our eyes. Since December 25th, Trey Jones and Victor Wembanyama on the court together for a team that is third worst in the NBA in net rating are actually plus 1.5 per 100 possessions. It's really hard to overstate how tremendously difficult that is for a player to be that impactful when they are on the court. I'm kind of trying to ride the Spurs here as we end the 2023-2024 NBA season. And obviously Victor has been a dominant defensive player, so that is why we are on the under of 233. Plus, Luka is playing through this ankle injury if he does play at all. And then we are going to tack on a third leg of Victor Wembanyama to score 20 or more points in this game. Obviously, if they keep it close, Wemby is going to have it going on the offensive side. This three-leg same-game parlay is going to give us plus 362 odds, Spurs plus 8.5, under 233, and Victor Wembanyama to score 20 or more points in this game. Good luck tonight, everybody.
Love to see Wemby in the fold. Wemby, by the way, is kind of the champion of my NBA futures. Admittedly, a number of things just didn't break right. Like the Nets fell apart as it pertained to the win total. Devin Booker injured immediately, giving that MVP shot no chance. And look, some of it was just, complete misreads, right, on a few things. The one thing that has ended up, that will work out and will cover a portion of things, was a boost that was out. Not a boost, it was a special on Victor Wembanyama to average 20 points a game and 2 blocks. And, I remember what really got me to that number on Wemby. The 20 points was the bet. The 2 blocks, there's just no world where I could envision Victor Wembanyama not averaging 2 blocks. Well, averaged 3.5 blocks a game. And it's pretty obvious right away the blocks were not going to be the part of that bet that had any sweat. It was going to be the points. And He's obviously continuously got better and better and more comfortable scoring the basketball. But to focus on that other side of it, I was talking with someone the other day. I might have been talking with Coach even here actually on the show, but we didn't get to expand on it too much. But with Wemby and the blocks being what they are, right? And it's going to be so gaudy. And it's only going to get more outrageous. He's the only guy averaging 3 blocks a game in the league. He's at 3.5. And he plays on the season under 30 minutes a game. Now, maybe it's an assumption that Wemby's going to be able to play 34 a night. Maybe he can't do that, but even 32 minutes is still going to be a nice boost for him. When we get to next July, okay, I think it'll be probably, if I remember correctly from the BATRs this summer, the NBA awards markets will come out. MVP will come out first, and then the rest of it will start to expand. He's going to be the favorite, right? Like, there's no world he can't be the favorite. And I think the question is, how short's the number? Gobert's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He should. I don't think you can give out DPOY to somebody who's on a 15-win basketball team, which the Spurs are. And the Spurs are also like bad defensively, right? The Timberwolves' entire claim to fame is defense, and we know that funnels still through Rudy Gobert. And some of the advanced metrics still obviously back up Rudy in a very favorable way. But can Victor Wembanyama in year 2 be underneath 2-1 to win DPOY? He's going to be the most bet guy. Because that's the other thing. It's not just about the likelihood, right? But it's going to be the books protecting themselves from all of the Wemby bets. He is going to be the one. And it'll be a question of, realistically, it's going to feel, is he healthy or not, right? Like, that's ultimately what the Rookie of the Year award ended up being. As good as, think about Chet Holmgren, at moments this season looked all-star caliber. And Vic has completely lapped him. And I think Chet is one of those guys, is a very safe bet to be a top 30 player in this league within, 4 to 5 years, right? And that's a conservative end of it. Wemby is at this moment one of the 25 best players in the league, and probably much higher than that, right? And with that is going to come all the fanfare as well. So, it's going to be smart people and fans that are all just going to pile on this Victor Wembanyama bet, and people are going to gladly give it to him. I mean, they are, right? There's going to be a desire to give, in the beginning, Victor this. There will be, and this is why he's the future face of the league, there will be a moment where this will shift. We know that's how this goes. And people start to pick apart. He's not accomplishing enough. Like, the Spurs can't be terrible next year, right? To a degree, how does Victor not win? And I say health is the one thing. And the other thing is if they're bad. Like, they can't win under 25 games next year. Their win total is going to be fascinating. Because the Spurs are, at the moment, one of the worst teams in the league, and going into next year, they will have one of the 15 best players in the NBA. 20? Is that, what's the 15 feel too rich? Is it? Probably not. It's very interesting to think about. And I know, for some people sitting here with a, Tournament Tuesday going far in advance in the NBA, but that's the kind of player that Vic is. He pulls those conversations out. But I'm not betting Wemby tonight. I'm betting Luka, the other generational superstar who will sit atop this league with him for the next decade plus. And it's pretty simple. 19.5 rebounds plus assists. He was on a 7-game triple-double streak, which automatically means you're over this number. And that's now been snapped in 2 consecutive games. One game he only had 3 rebounds. The next game he only has 3 assists. So he's been way under, in fact, the 19.5 mark. He has missed it. That was his first time missing it in 2 consecutive games since January. The last time he missed it in 3 consecutive was November. I think the triple-double, if you'd like, at 2-1 makes sense. If you want like a parlay leg, I don't know how expensive it is, admittedly. This will probably be useless, but 8 assists for Luka should be 0 problem. This was the last game he had 3 assists. It was the 3rd time he's had 4 or less assists on the season. He's had, I believe, 10 plus it's 9 or 10 plus in each of the next games. So his assists tonight were an initial look, but I'm bringing the rebounds into the fold because
it'll also just kind of be in the mix here for Luka Doncic. College basketball, the BVB guys are going to be coming by here in a bit. Matt Peralt first, then Dave Sharapan. If we do cross talk, that's great as well. We're not only going to talk a little bit about what's upcoming, but what is live right now, and what is, now kind of staying a runaway strong. It's college basketball, but Wagner was just up. They're up 11. I think it was like 15, or did my eyes deceive me there for a moment? No, they're up 17 points. 17 at one point here. And we talked about with Wagner, but they are the second slowest team in college. So think about what you think of Virginia, right? Wagner is not, there is a gap between Virginia and Wagner still in how slow they are, but still, that's how slow Wagner is. They are the second slowest team in college basketball. So it's harder to come back against a team like that. Now, the benefit is Wagner can't score the rock, so they're going to go on droughts. It's just fewer possessions, which makes for an uphill battle here for the Howard Bison, and it is why now the live money line in this game is actually locked, but it's going to be pretty expensive. We'll be right back here on SportsGrid Game Time Decisions. SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the movie that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance. That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid.
Unlike the last one, I don't think these managers are going to sign up for a 1-1 draw. I think the Spurs know they need to win this one. They need the full 3 points to try to get into Champions League position.
But generally speaking, I find Klopp and Liverpool's approach to be much more effective, which is you disrupt those patterns of play, you get in the middle of those triangles, and you put them on the back foot.
Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca. Only on SportsGrid.
Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullough Jr. are not going to be fully healthy for the NCAA tournament. I think KU might be in danger of a very early round of 64 exit in the big dance.
They're playing really, really good defense, and to me, that's what you need this time of year. You got to be playing great defensively to give yourself a chance. Not like Kentucky, who gave up 97 last night.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Live on SportsGrid, I'm Kevin Walsh. I'm joined by Matt Peralt here. And Matt, you just told me some breaking news that is going to involve a very prominent team here in this tournament. Can you let the people know what you just saw?
Yeah, Bill Self just made it known that Kevin McCullough Jr. will not play in the entire NCAA tournament for Kansas. So the knee injury, they're shutting him down for the season. So he's out. If you watch any Big 12 basketball, you know how different KU is with McCullough on the court. Now, I've not seen anything about Hunter Dickinson yet, who didn't play in the Big 12 tournament due to a shoulder injury, but he's expected to play. But wait and see what Bill Self says about him. But their best player, Kevin McCullough Jr., will not play for the entire tournament for KU.
That is obviously massive. And where I think it's, in a way, even bigger than the Samford game, which, and you know, Matt, we'll get your take on that in a second. It's if Kansas survives the Samford game, how depleted they will be. It'll be very hard to pick them to win the next game, which will either be against Gonzaga, who they'll be a dog to, or everybody's favorite team in the country, McNeese. So this now, it just, that's like Kansas, maybe they beat Samford. The line looks like it's 7.5, Matt. I can't even see them winning 2 games now with this news.
They're not beating Samford. Samford shoots more threes than anybody in the country. I mean, that's just a make or miss game. Samford makes threes. KU's going home. I mean, they lost the last 2 games by 20 points. They got destroyed by Cincinnati in the Big 12 tournament. I mean, they're a shell of themselves. And that's the problem with Kansas in a lot of ways. When you beat them early. I've seen it too many times, whether it be against Bradley, against Bucknell, against Northern Iowa. Earlier today on BVB, we had Ali Farouk-Manesh. He's the guy who hit the shot for Northern Iowa in Oklahoma City when KU was the number 1 seed overall. And you and I knocked them out with the craziest no, yes shot in the history of the tournament. This is just what KU does. They lose early. And I think Samford will be the latest team to get KU and knock them out and send them home early. So, look, I think McNeese is going to beat Gonzaga. Samford, McNeese, round 2 matchup. That's exactly what the TV networks are hoping for, I bet.
Well, yeah, right. But again, then who's the next big benefactor? Well, I should be careful saying this, but
Purdue?
You would think it'd be Purdue. You'd think, and then all of a sudden we're watching McNeese, Utah State. And then all of a sudden, guess what? The Tennessee future, Matt, is the ticket of the year.
Look, I don't know if you follow this trend or not, but everyone's been pipping this today about the fact that the KenPom top 25 adjusted efficiency offensively and top 40 adjusted efficiency defensively. There's 8 teams that factor in. I have futures on 5 of them. So
that's not bad.
I hope that trend continues. It's Arizona, North Carolina, Marquette, Creighton. I mean, these are the teams I have futures on. Tennessee, and I'm forgetting in North Carolina. So, I mean, those are the 6 teams I have futures on going into the tournament, and 5 of them are on that list, and Tennessee is just outside of the list. So, I hope that trend continues. But look, Tennessee, I've got them going to the Final Four. I know everybody says it's regular season Rick, and there's no way they can't do it. I mean, maybe the Creighton Blue Jays will get them, but I think Tennessee's got a real good shot here. If Dalton Connect plays the way he's capable of, this is a very good Tennessee team when they play at their best.
Yeah, I think Tennessee is a team where I thought them losing to Kentucky was good because it would allow them then to pick the momentum back up to win the SEC tournament. Them proceeding to then lose again, I was like, that's not what you want to see. But the reason why so many people place their picks when the bracket is set is it makes a difference. I am not particularly in love with this Creighton team. You and I have talked about this. And I can't put money on Purdue at their price. If they get it done this year, cool. Right. If we create the worst trend of all time that you lose to a 16 seed and win the tournament next year, good for them. I'm not getting there. It leaves Tennessee or Gonzaga. Like, that's where I'm at. And I have the Gonzaga, preseason. Awful number relatively. 35-1. They're 75 now. The number's probably going to drop a bit with the McCullough news, admittedly. But that is where I'm at. I don't know if you filled out the bracket already, Matt. Like, we have time. You know what I mean? We have time, for me at least. It's going to be Gonzaga or it's going to be Tennessee. That's the way the Midwest looks to me right now, for me.
Yeah, I have both Creighton and Tennessee going up against each other, and I have Tennessee coming out of there. And look, I think Purdue, they've got a shot, okay? But I don't think Purdue, if they play Tennessee, I don't think that's a good matchup for them. Look, in the tournament, I'm looking for three things. I'm looking for point guard play, and I absolutely love what Tennessee's got at the point guard spot. I look for killers. Tennessee's got Dalton Connect. And I look for experienced head coaches, which obviously, yes, Rick Barnes has gone to a Final Four before, but he has a big, red X across him with most people say, I'm not betting on Rick Barnes ever come tournament play. In the SEC tournament, he, validated that opinion. His team played horribly. So let's see what happens out of the gate here. I mean, they really shouldn't be tested until they get to the Sweet 16, but I'm going to be really curious to see how the Vols handle the pressure. And then look at, if Purdue's in a tight game late, I want to see how Purdue handles that, because there's a lot of pressure on that Purdue team, because Matt Painter, you can talk all you want about how bad Rick Barnes is, but Matt Painter's got the resume right there with Rick Barnes about having elite teams that completely cannot play in March.
And I think, again, what is then when we look at the coaches, right? Like, it's so funny. Like, Few, it's also like, Mark Few underachieves. Relatively, though, right? Like, Matt Painter would kill for what Mark Few's accomplished in this specific tournament. So what makes it interesting, the winner of that Midwest would play the South. So you said you kind of run through the bracket already. My eyes tell me whoever comes out of the top portion of it all gets to the Final Four. I just I like Wisconsin and Duke, but I also don't trust them. But I feel like one of them has to get through there. Houston's good. I think even the 8-9 teams are good enough to beat whatever comes out of the bottom, whether it's Kentucky, Marquette, Western Kentucky. I feel like I like the top a lot more in the South.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I like Houston. I mean, I think Houston wins the bracket. I think Houston gets to the Final Four. I think, look, they're going to curb stomp Longwood. If you want to, I'm going to give Joe Ranieri credit for this, because Joe's the one that about a month ago turned me on to the Houston first half number. After what happened against Iowa State, Houston's laying 15 in the first half to Longwood. I'm not sure Longwood scores 15 points in the whole first half against Houston in that game. And I'm serious. It's funny, but I'm serious. I think that's going to be an absolute butt kicking right out of the gate, given what happened to Houston in the Big 12 tournament. I just think Houston defensively, as long as they're not playing 3 games in 3 days, which is they won't do that again. They were beat, exhausted, tired against Iowa State, and it showed, because they have no depth. They have no bench. They are banged up. But in the tournament, you only really need 6 players. As long as you're not dealing with foul trouble, you can play 6 players in the tournament and make a deep run. And that team defensively with Shed and company, I can't go against them. So I've got them winning the South. I have Tennessee winning the bottom of the bracket, them coming out of the Midwest. I like the East to going, this is going to be a wild situation for UConn, okay? I like UConn a lot, but I think UConn in Boston against Iowa State, I think Iowa State can beat UConn to go to the Final Four. I like Iowa State there, and then I like North Carolina to beat Arizona to get out of the East or the West bracket, to have them come on in. I don't trust Arizona to get all the way to the Elite Eight, but I think North Carolina has a really good path. I think the committee did North Carolina a big favor. Yes, they're out west, but their path is one of the easier ones. Everyone's talking about Purdue. Not enough people are talking about North Carolina only really having to face Arizona as a tough test to get to Phoenix, to get to Arizona.
I think that makes it clear that you don't believe in Michigan State, and I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I think it's funny. I thought I was on an island, Matt. At the minimum, the island is 2. I just
Who's
think
believing in Michigan State? Other than Tom Izzo does not play basketball, guys. Tom Izzo does not put on a uniform.
I think he starts at all 5 positions and shoots 50% from 3, apparently, at all 5 spots. My thing is, and I know this is kind of what happens when you're in this space, and you end up talking to almost sometimes too many people, but everybody is like, okay, you know what? I have to fade a 1 seed. I'll fade the worst 1 seed. And everyone's just bing, 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 bing. And it's like, hold on a minute. I get that maybe North Carolina's not UConn good, but for me, they check every of the all the boxes you were talking about. R.J. Davis is an All-American. Hubert Davis has been in this one time. Covered every game, by the way. Went 5-1 straight up. Baycott's been there for 45 years at this point. They have good freshmen. What does people like the ACC's bad?
And what does that mean?
Right.
I don't know what
Nothing.
that has to do with UNC.
I have Carolina cutting down the nets. I have Carolina winning it all for the exact reasons why you just said. Because I look for point guard play, RJ Davis. I want a killer, RJ Davis. I want a coach who's done it, Hubert Davis. I mean, you look at North Carolina, they have a bench. They check off every box. Oh, it's the ACC. I get it. ACC wasn't very good this year. Do you know who was really good on the road? Go look at the way Carolina played on the road this year, ATS. They were tremendous away from home. They don't need home cooking to be good. They can win 6 games and win the whole thing.
I'm very happy about this.
This wasn't even intentional, the jacket. It really wasn't. But it's sometimes.
I wear the jacket. I wear that blue. I got that Carolina blue. That's why I wear it.
Yeah.
I've been on them all year.
Yeah.
They're my team this year. I like North Carolina a lot more than most people.
Yeah, I'm maybe not there, but I'm right there behind you, Matt. Love it, appreciate it. We're going to talk a ton. We're going to talk a ton throughout March. Enjoy. Again, of course, check Matt out with Shatterpan on BVB. And if you want more BVB, well, Dave is up next right here on Game Time Decisions.
SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the movie that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance. That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid.
Unlike the last one, I don't think these managers are going to sign up for a 1-1 draw. I think the Spurs know they need to win this one. They need the full 3 points to try to get into Champions League position.
But generally speaking, I find Klopp and Liverpool's approach to be much more effective, which is you disrupt those patterns of play, you get in the middle of those triangles, and you put them on the back foot.
Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca. Only on SportsGrid.
Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullough Jr. are not going to be fully healthy for the NCAA tournament. I think KU might be in danger of a very early round of 64 exit in the Big Dance.
They're playing really, really good defense. And to me, that's what you need this time of year. You got to be playing great defensively to give yourself a chance. Not like Kentucky, who gave up 97 last night.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Welcome to BVB Decisions. I mean, that's essentially what we got going on here. Great stuff from Matt Peral. Dave Sharapan is in the fold. How about that back-to-back, and Sig?
Listen, we run a two-man game on BVB a lot of times, but we bring in people all the time. It's nice to have a third big man like you to throw the ball into a little bit. And you know, the offense runs through you on game time decisions. I'm happy to show up. And, you know, you can dish it. I seen you step back and hit the three, though. Multifaceted, talent all over the place. But I heard you might be on an island. I can't leave Kate. No man left behind. I am world-renowned, one of the best wingmen of all time. I've saved people from very, very bad decisions over a lifetime. 20 years living in Vegas. Before that, back in Penn State and Pittsburgh. Even in Curacao, there were times I lived on an island. I can't leave you on an island. North Carolina is an island? What are you talking about?
Well, you know what's funny is maybe they're not. Maybe they are. You like them. I like them. Peralt likes them. I will just say this, because shout out Matt. He let us know he's taking North Carolina to win the whole thing.
Yes.
I have all the preseason stuff. I've not finished the bracket. For people who are going to make fun and think, oh, he's off tomorrow. Trust me, I'm working way harder than you tomorrow. Let me not be mean. We're having a nice time. We're having a nice time.
Is there a wrestling show tomorrow or something?
No, see, and he knows. See, and now he's basically pulling from that guy's playbook. All right, let me do this quickly.
Yes.
Let me do this quickly because I just said I want to be nice, but I'm bringing up a topic where it's impossible. Dumbest league in the world, Major League Baseball. There's a game at 6 a.m. What is that handle? What is the handle for this awful nonsense Dodgers-Padres game? I hope nobody bets it.
It's nothing. It's a shame. It's Dodgers-Padres. We only get so many of these a season, right? They play their division foes less now than they ever have before, only 13 times in a regular season. And we're getting two games in the middle of the night. I have to take a nap after the shows tonight to wake up and watch it while the kids are sleeping. Nothing better than the West Coast, middle of the night watching Australian Open, the Open Championship of Golf, and Dodgers-Padres out in, the other side of the world. So there's no handle. K-Dub, there's no handle. I mean, even if you and DRS put together a homer prop thing, or we can come up with something, dinger Tuesday night in the middle of the night, Wednesday. I don't even know what to call it. It's no good. I'm not a fan of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. I'm not betting it. Look, I like big events, and here I always want to be there for the people. I would love to go over to this wall in 15 minutes and close it out with baseball best bet. Oh,
can't do it. No.
Week from tonight, baseball futures show right here. Game time decisions. We're dialed in.
Love it.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
We'll talk to Dave. You guys know how those conversations go. I list off 14 bets to Dave, and thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs middle. We're in the mix. I'm not doing it. People are like,
You're going light with this one? This is 14?
Boy,
That's it?
Right. We have to keep it controlled. I tell you what, first weekend goes well. We might be pushing it a little bit. Here's the deal. People are like, if you want to bet futures, for the Dodgers and the Padres, you got to get it in, and that's correct. So no, they're out. Now, I will tell you this: on Sports Rage, I know for sure they will have you covered with that game. Yes. I'm pretty sure if somebody makes a phone call to Gabe, he'll be live for it if they need him to. All right?
Absolutely.
3 a.m. He's up anyway, because that's 3 a.m. West Coast time.
Yeah.
So,
I'll be up. I'll be up. If you want to text me, I'll be up. I'll be up.
I will say, and you know this, it's a Donnie crusade that's been going on forever about the start times of certain things.
Yes.
And sometimes I think he's right. Sometimes it's over. The fact that the first Dodger game that counts and Ohtani is playing in, and then the Yamamoto debut is at 3 a.m. local time.
It's not for us.
It is objectively a disgrace. There is no other way to label that.
It's the America's pastime, but these games are not for us. This is a worldwide audience. They're getting everybody. There's a lot of people watching it, and there'll probably be more action on it elsewhere than the United States, which I can honestly say, and talking to a lot of people that I talk to in this business, baseball handle is so not a worldwide thing. Like, it's just not. They don't. The start times are an issue for them and other places. Always has been. It's a lot slower. You know, the basketball handle is the number one U.S. sport international handle. I mean, you know, soccer over there is everything. Soccer is our American football to the world. But these games are for them, K-Dub. Like, you want to, I mean, this is like when they have the Olympics in other places that are far away, different time zones, multiple hours away. They're watching baseball tonight over there.
Yeah, it's good for them. You know what? Good for them. It's just, it's crazy. Howard Wagner.
Yeah.
What's that handle look like here? Ongoing right now. Wagner up 11. Juice from the Seahawks.
Let's look at a hockey game tonight that's probably no handle, and this is less. This is one of those games that it's just not. It doesn't resonate with people. This is the first time that they can't even find the games on their cable systems. They don't know where the game's at. They're not watching it. No one even comes up in the book to ask to put this game on. You put it on a side screen because I think the later game has a little more juice to it because they're teams that people know. The fact that the winner of the game is going to get lit up by who's the number? They got to play North Carolina, team I'm wearing. I don't even know who wins this game, but they're 22-point dogs minimum. It doesn't even matter. 23, 24 is probably the number. No handle at all. Do you like someone in this game? You like someone?
Yeah, I'm on Wagner.
Things
are going
Wagner?
well. Okay. Come on. You weren't seeing that. Little advantage. There was a couple advantages we saw. What about this Virginia-Colorado State game? I mean, people are betting Colorado State through the moon or no? Nobody likes Virginia.
Nobody likes Virginia. It's the ultimate contrarian play, and I get it, you know, and I heard you talking to Matt a little bit earlier about besmirching the ACC has been a very popular thing to do this week. And they have not been good. I can't understand how Virginia got in, but we've seen this happen in the past, right? The team that nobody thinks should be in goes and wins today, and then they win on Thursday. That's what happens. We've seen this happen before. I don't think – listen, we had Ali Farouk Maresh on our show today. He was unbelievable. He's an assistant coach. He called us from the shoot-around today, and he gave us a little bit of insight. That mindset of this team, he called themselves a bunch of misfits. Nobody believes in them. Nobody thought they would even make it. They have to play their way in. They've been selling for 3 days. It's R. Let me see. I got it right here. I don't want to say it wrong. RNME, K-Dub. Right now means everything. He said it today on the BVB. I was ready to get up and run through a wall. Rams tonight. They're winning. That's it. Yeah.
Now, I have a best bet on this game.
Uh-oh.
What do you think it is? Come on.
Over.
You know what it is.
Over.
You know what it is. We'll do the best bet. We'll do the best bet in 5 minutes.
I can't wait. I got to stay on. Somebody's going to have to tell Matty G I'm going to be late because I got to stay. I got to see this best bet by K-Dub. I mean, listen, I might be a minute late.
Here's all I'm saying, right? They go, hey, Consig, we need you to book. We're setting odds. What's K-Dub's best bet going to be? They called the right guy. He knows what it is. Let's be honest here.
This total is the story of the day. How do you make a number this low? In game, if this starts slow, I mean, I'm locked into this Georgia Xavier game. This thing's going over.
You loving it?
Georgia looks good. I like the NIT games today. There's some good games.
Yeah.
I knew a hoop guy like you would have something. But
I got 3.
Look at this total.
Look at this total.
Come on.
This is why I'm not rooting against anybody that picked Colorado State. I'm just saying if Virginia wins, I won't be upset. We get to do it again. Does
the winner of this game get 60?
They better.
Look, let's talk. Listen, whoa, NIT.
I'm on South Florida. I'm on K-State. I'm on UC Irvine. I went for the dogs tonight. We went dogs here in the NIT. How do we feel?
I like what you did.
Dogs look good early in the NIT.
Yeah, they called this
That's not true.
the South Florida, Central Florida game, the Battle I-4 or something. That must be the interstate that runs between the two.
Sounds terrible.
I know. Irvine, that's a big number. I like that play too. I think you're looking good. I think at minimum, I think you go 2 out of 3 with that screen that the boys built for you with the best bets. I like this. Look, these games are fun. I think it's getting overshadowed so much because of the playing games today. There's some quality basketball games today. This is going to be a fun, 4-game parlay to Indianapolis, to the Hinkle Fieldhouse. Butler didn't make the list for you today? Fell short?
Yeah, Coach is actually on Butler, if you'd like. I'm good. I got nothing to Minnesota, ATS wagon. You got to respect it. Golden Gophers, baby. They've been golden, all right. You know what?
Yeah.
Listen, I don't mind a little head-to-head battle with Coach these days. We listen, if that's what it comes down to, it's what it comes down to.
Coach came on PvP today. He came in hot. He was fired up about a lot of things. I got JY. I didn't mean to rile him up, but he came in smoke. Ooh, he got
I'm
hot.
telling you this right now.
Oh.
I'm telling you this right now. This guy, man. Him and that Stevens. Oh, they better hope Purdue go. Oh, they better hope. Oh, they better hope they go far.
Boy.
Oh, it's going to be ugly if they don't.
Who's taking down the Huskies? Who's taking down the Huskies? They get into the Final Four?
I'll say this. If the way this world works,
yes,
they find a way to get knocked off in the 8-9 game, right?
8-9?
Isn't that how they... Hold on. I'm just saying, right? Hold on. All I'm saying is, with the way these conversations usually go, right? You hear that? He wouldn't have reacted like that if I said that Longwood beats Houston. He wouldn't have reacted like that. He wouldn't have. That's where we're at on UConn. That's where we're at right now on the Huskies. I don't know.
The Owls, Florida Atlantic's going to run it back? The Wildcats?
Northwestern has a win over a number 1 seed this year.
Stop. What?
But they do. I don't
down.
know. I didn't do it yet. I didn't do the bracket. What are you asking me for?
San Diego
What do I know about college hoops? I mean, is that Auburn team look good or what? Is that Auburn? I mean, tell the smart kids leave the books at home.
Bruce Pearl maybe cry on Sunday. Come on.
It's beautiful. Emotional. That team's invested. I like what they bring into the dance, this Tigers team.
Yeah.
So
are you going to be busy tomorrow? Can I shoot this ball at you right now? Will you take a pass? Let's go.
Okay. Best bet on the other side. Uh-oh. SportsGrid's going to have you covered for this NCAA tournament.
That's the movie that we know. When it's win or go home, they love to go home.
Tennessee's now in my phony club. They should all get together and drink green tea.
Furman's going to have a chance. That is a team I'm betting on right now.
We are feeling this. You are feeling this at home. The excitement and the atmosphere.
Only on SportsGrid.
Unlike the last one, I don't think these managers are going to sign up for a 1-1 draw. I think the Spurs know they need to win this one. They need the full 3 points to try to get into Champions League position.
But generally speaking, I find Klopp and Liverpool's approach to be much more effective, which is you disrupt those patterns of play, you get in the middle of those triangles, and you put them on the back foot.
Pro League Soccer, powered by Marca. Only on SportsGrid.
Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullough Jr. are not going to be fully healthy for the NCAA tournament. I think KU might be in danger of a very early round of 64 exit in the Big Dance.
They're playing really, really good defense, and to me, that's what you need this time of year. You got to be playing great defensively to give yourself a chance. Not like Kentucky, who gave up 97 last night.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions, hypothetical for the people. This whole thing's a mess. 30 years. Now, 30 years. This tournament, and then 29 more. Minus 110 both sides. Will 2 16 seeds win in the same tournament? Just let me know what you think. Let me know what you think, okay? And if you wanted to bet that, you need a bankroll to bet it. So how do you build the bankroll? You bet the over in this Virginia Cavaliers game. Are you kidding me? We get one more chance at this. We might get another, but if this is our last, we're going to be at the window. 120.5, stop the madness. What are they doing? These are real basketball teams here. And if I see this thing ticking down, I'm stepping onto the court, and I might let one fly. UVA played similar teams in Pitt, Clemson, buck 30+ in those. Oh, but Colorado State's never seen a team like this. Liar. St. Mary's, over this total. SDSU, over this total. That awful Air Force team plays slow as all get out. They smashed them. UNLV, shout out Vegas. Over that. What are we doing? And a little sizzle Isaiah Stevens over the 1.5 made threes. One book was hanging at plus 130, another was hanging at minus 122. Said yesterday, they're not used to hanging the Isaiah Stevens numbers. Well, we're used to getting ready for Isaiah Stevens props. 16 games this year with 4 or more attempts from beyond the arc. 14 out of 16 he makes 2. I'm fired up. I'm fired up. What, you want NIT picks? We'll slap those on the board as well. We have NIT picks. UC Irvine getting the full 8.5. K-State plus the 5.5. This is what it's all about. Who's the other team on that board that was getting too many points? South Florida, that's right, 6 and a hook. NBA sizzle plays. Luka, 19.5 rebounds plus assists. I have no hockey tonight. I let the people down. That's fair enough. Fair enough. I let the people down with no hockey. And I would throw a pick out there, but that would be forced, and that wouldn't be right. Although my brain is saying that Vegas-Tampa Bay game, I was thinking over. It could have juice. It could have juice. In-game lines next. Dave will be there. Guess what? I absolutely love you, and the next time I see you, the tournament will be popping. Can't wait. Good luck.